of the classic Asiatic spoons. Very useful shape. They're extremely strong, great for outdoor activities, or just use them as your personal eating spoon. Hey folks, this is Max from Axt und Astel, an Austrian crew of craftsmen using cool stuff to make nice things. Today I'm going to show you how I'm using this branch here to make a spoon. Now, apart from the fact that we're using all of the little chips that you're seeing flying off in our videos to heat our houses, we can actually do quite a few useful and nice projects out of these not usable pieces. Now, in the trunk of a tree, there is often wide sections or long sections that don't have any branches on them. But as soon as you're getting a little bit higher up on the trunk and you're getting into the branches themselves, what you're finding a lot is more branches. In the branch to trunk connection or transition, there is actually bent grain. And bent grain is great for bent spoons because the grain is running throughout the entire spoon and makes it a lot stronger. So as you can see, I split that piece off and we actually want to use the grain that is running in the transition between the branch and the trunk, or in this case, it was actually a bigger branch and a smaller branch. And right in here, there's a transition that allows us to let the wood grain go all the way through the spoon. So after this, I want to get rid of most of the material that is not going to be in the spoon. Also, this entire back piece here is not going to be in the spoon. As you can see, I cut it off with the saw right here and right there, all the pieces that I don't need. So our next job is to actually split right through the branch that is going into the bigger trunk, and that is going to make the base of our spoon. That process is requiring a little bit of strength and knowing what material to get rid of and what material to keep. Quite interesting, isn't it? So this beginning process is nothing like regular spoon carving if you're used to carving spoons from straight grained wood. So here you can still see the pith of that branch that runs into the other trunk, but you can also see that we're already getting closer to our spoon shape. Just a little bit more patience in getting rid of that pith, because just like with regular spoons from straight wood, we want to go all the way to the pith and through it. And right here, that is the actual pith. So we got as far as we need to go. And from here on out, funny enough, it's just regular spoon carving. Especially for a little piece of wood that we started with like that, I'm gonna go with a very generic organic shape, just like one of my canoe spoons. Since the grain is going all the way through the spoon here, as you can see, it basically goes around the curve. We can work with very thin material and still get a very strong spoon out of it. Here we go, one of the classic Asiatic spoons you find all over the world. Be the nerd with the personal spoon. When you're trying this the first time, just relax. Take the speed out of it. Take your time, because it's quite a little bit different feel-wise when you're used to making spoons from straight wood. The grain is not always running where you're expecting it. It doesn't always feel like straight grained wood. So rather than cutting off too much, take your time. All right, that's pretty much as far as I'm gonna go with the axe on this one. I'm actually thinking about maybe keeping the rough saw cut as it was back here. Looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more in the back. Just, the alder oxidizes right away. So you're seeing already all these oranges and browns in here from the oxidization, while all the fresh cuts are almost white. Let's take it to the knife. Alder is great for these type of projects because it is quite soft, but it does harden to a quite usable end product. So if you're gonna find some alder in your area, don't hesitate. to use it for spoons. Let's bring in this gorgeous piece of forging here. A good hook knife is an absolutely unreal tool, but a lot of things have to be considered in the design to make a hook knife that is pure butter. All right. Let's bring a nice little swoop to this thing. Get rid of most of the bark here. You can definitely see how the grain goes all the way through the spoon rather than very short sections. There's pretty long growth rings. Also means that there's sections like this where it kind of wants you to carve all the way upstream, which is usually a no-go. Like I said, a lot of the sections want to be carved upwards as an exception because of the crooked grain that we're actually carving in this. But once you've gotten used to trusting your knife and the feedback it gives you, that's pretty easy. Okay, the back of the spoon, I'm gonna take our times a little bit because the grain's running a little bit different than usual.
This is a great example of why you need a really sharp knife, because the grain is running in all directions at this point. A really sharp knife has the advantage that every once in a while it allows you to cut ever so slightly against the grain, or at least perpendicular to the grain, and that is really needed in that situation. But look how cool.
All right, folks, as you can see, the process is a little bit different from your straight grain wood, but here's a little tidbit. The oldest spoons found that were still preserved were actually spoons from bent wood. So these can hold up for a whole lifetime. Have fun with the process, and thanks for tuning in. We're gonna see you next time here on Axel Astel.